I've been sharing my embroidery designs over on social media for nearly 5 years, and one of my most asked questions is how do you display it once you've finished it? I actually really like keeping them in the round hoop, and one of my favourite places to display them is on a shelf in my craft room. I also really like propping them up on a bookshelf just like this, or hanging them up with the help of a piece of ribbon and displaying them on the wall. Not everyone is a fan of keeping their finished embroidery in the hoop, so today I'm going to show you how you can mount your embroidery into a photo frame just like this. The first step here is to find a photo frame that's going to fit your finished design. So I've measured mine up and I know it's going to fit into a 6 by 4 inch photo frame when using it this way round. The next thing I'm going to do is remove my design from the hoop. I'm just going to loosen that off and take it out. Now you might find, depending on how long the fabric has been in the hoop, you might need to give it an iron to smooth it out. So I'm just going to lay this down and we'll see what we're working with. You can see the crease from the hoop is quite visible, so I'm just going to run my iron over this to smooth it out. Here we go, so that's looking a bit smoother. I've got a few wavy edges which I'm going to tidy up in just a minute, but first I'm going to get my photo frame ready. So here it is, I've got this lovely green frame. So I'm going to start just by removing the back. I'm not going to be using the glass, so I'm going to carefully remove that as well. I don't want any glare reflecting on my piece, so I'm not going to cover it with it. So next up, I'm going to cut out a piece of cardboard, which I'm going to use to keep the fabric nice and smooth in the frame. This needs to be the same size as the photo frame itself, so I'm going to use the back of the frame as a size guide. So I'm just going to lay this down on the cardboard, and then I'm just going to draw around it, and this will ensure that it's the same size as the frame. This cardboard isn't going to be on show as it's going to be hidden by the back of the photo frame, so it doesn't need to be anything fancy. I just grabbed this one out of the recycling. So the reason I'm doing this is to create a sturdy backing for the fabric. This will give it a smooth finish, but it will also ensure that the design stays in place within the frame. And now here is our backing, and I'm just going to cut around this, ready to insert into the frame. Here we go, so I've finished cutting out my cardboard. I'm just going to give it a little size check just to make sure it fits in the frame nicely. There we go, perfect. So now it's time to tidy up our embroidery design. So I'm going to cut away some of the excess fabric, just keeping the design a little bit bigger than the cardboard insert. So I've got my pinking shears and I'm just going to cut around the design. You can always use your piece of cardboard as a guide if you want to. And I'm using pinking shears here as these will reduce the amount of fraying around the edge. So this will give it a really nice tidy finish. Here we go, so I've just got a little bit more fabric on this side, so I'm just going to cut that down to make sure it's really nice and even. Okay, this is looking a little bit more even now. Let's give it a check. Perfect, I'm happy with that. So now we're going to mount the design into the frame. So start by taking the front piece of the frame and lay it face down on a surface. Now grab your piece of cardboard and your embroidery and place the fabric on top of the card. So now just position your design where you want it on the cardboard. So I'm aiming to get this really nice and central. So I'm just making sure that the shelf in particular is nice and straight, it's not at an angle, and just making sure that the hanging baskets are nice and straight as well. So now I'm just going to carefully flip the design over so that it's facing downwards, making sure my cardboard is staying in place as well. And I'm going to insert it into the frame. Just giving it a little push to get it in there nice and securely. So you'll notice I've got some excess fabric around the edges. I've just gone a little wonky on one side, but these are actually really handy because you can give them a gentle pull to smooth out any puckers in the fabric. It's a little bit like leaving excess fabric around the edge of your embroidery hoop. It helps give it a really nice smooth finish. Now this bit of fabric up here at the top is a little bit bigger than the others, so I'm just going to give it a little trim down, and this will make sure that the back of the photo frame fits on really nicely. Here we go, so that's looking a bit tidier now. We've not got quite so much fabric, so I'm just going to flip this over and just make sure that I'm happy with the positioning within the hoop and to make sure all of the fabric is nice and smooth. If you find the design isn't quite straight within the frame, turn it back over and give the fabric a gentle pull to alter the position, and then just give it another little check. Now I'm really happy with this, so it's time to add the back of the photo frame. So now I'm just flattening down the edges of the fabric and popping the back of the photo frame into place. I'm going to go around the edges and just tuck in any little bits of fabric that keep poking through. Just giving them a little tuck in. There we go. And then once you're happy, work your way around the edge of the frame and push down the little clips that hold the backing in place. So here is our photo frame, all finished and backed. Let's take a look at the front. Here we go. So our frame is now ready to be displayed. Will you be giving this one a go with one of your designs? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Happy stitching.